his truck so I could go get the wood to build this desk, but I don't even feel like it because I already know I'm gonna be tired. So I was like, forget it. We'll do it another day. I need to build a shelf too right here. I really need to do it. I mean, I'm gonna move all of this stuff, all of these books. Plus, I need to figure out the design. Y'all, what is y'all doing? Oh, why is y'all not asleep? Why y'all ain't in the bed? Huh? Why is y'all up? Listen, y'all see I got my grandma clothes on. I got my kids laugh at me because see what I have to do with my I can't leave my bonnet down or it'll be off in the middle of the night because I sleep wild. So I gotta put it in a ponytail in the back. Hey, Miss Haas, what is you doing? You don't never sleep. I thought I didn't never sleep. You really don't ever sleep. Hey y'all, where's my glasses? In my room. Hold on, y'all. And I don't got no coffee. I'm not drinking none though. If I want some, I'm gonna make me some tea. I'm not standing. But I realize now why my mama used to be up in the middle of the night. Because I had my son when she was 40. And then I think I had my other daughter when she was 42. And yeah, she used to be up cleaning and shit. Excuse my language. Stuff. Listen. You heard that slip out? Sorry about that, y'all. She did. That used to piss me off. Why is you up at 3 o'clock in the morning vacuuming and pine sol and bleaching the damn house down? We trying to sleep. Listen, it's still, I think about that now and I'll be like, wow. And I used to get up cleaning at 4 o'clock in the morning. So now I'm up because I can't go to sleep. Something is going on with this here menopause stuff. Got me up in the middle of the night. This is my time. I normally be getting ready to get up. I don't understand. I do not understand this. Getting old is a trip, man. Your body just do whatever the hell it wants to, no matter what you tell it to do. You say it's time to go to sleep. It's like a kid body. You be like, nah, we up. Mari, why is you up? It's giving strawberry, blueberry shortcake pop. Absolutely love strawberry shortcake. That was my first bed set that I can remember with the frillies all on the side, and I had the canopy that was all strawberry shortcake. It's real 80s. Real 80s. Very 80s. The white bed with the white. Sometimes it was not good being the only girl. You know that? Because I had to do all the frilly stuff. I had to wear all the frilly socks, all the white gloves, all the headbands, all the stockings. And I was in a house full of boys. It sucked. You ain't got to put me in a suit, but can I wear something else, please? I do not. Why do I gotta be looking like this? I'm a tomboy at heart for real. In real life. In real life. Like I want to build some stuff and have me a pole barn full of all my tools. You said, well, I promise you it's not that for me. Mr. Hardy, we already figured out that men go through menopause as well. It very well could be that, sir. I don't know how old you are. I know you've told me before, but it could easily, what is it, andropause or andropause? Yes, you guys go through menopause as well. You working. How were the pyramids built? Now, I'm about to mess with you, Drew. What is it? Dr. Willwood? I'm about to mess with you. Y'all be acting like I'm Siri. I want to talk to y'all about that. I am not Siri. I mean, I wasn't there, but from what God let me know, the angels built them, and not the angels. Excuse me. The giants built them, and the angels probably helped. But y'all have to realize, people are like, how did the giants fit in them? First of all, they weren't for the giants. Who do y'all think they built those for all over the world? Who do you think? Hmm? The goddesses. Who are the goddesses? Who are the goddesses? Tell me. Who were they? Okay. I be up. I just don't be on here because sometimes I don't be wanting to talk. But the women that had babies with the angels, what were they? They were the high priestess. They were the sorceresses. And if the angels taught them witchcraft and about electricity and about how to conduct it, you don't think that they would build power stations for them? All of the science that is being done right now was being done back then. Y'all get that, right? Actually, they have science that we haven't even probably discovered just yet. Y'all got that? They wives was little. There's so many books up here. Now I think they say this is his daughter. I didn't show this picture a gazillion times, but do you see where she's standing on his feet and her head only goes to his knees? And then you can see the post behind him, he's taller. There are secrets that are right in front of our faces, and you know, because we don't be looking, we don't see it. But she's standing on his feet. And she's fully grown. She has boobs and everything. So she's not a kid. But y'all, we just read the other day that the Nephilim and Enoch were taller than the largest giants. I mean, excuse me, the angels, their fathers, were taller than the tallest giants. Man, the tallest giants, I think, were several hundred feet. I know they were 450 feet from Enoch, but even if we just go from this book that's more recent, 2008, a regular 6 foot man, 5 to 6 feet, right? 9 to 24 feet, 32, I mean, what is that, 25 to 70 feet, and then 71 to several hundred feet. And people will say, well, I don't believe this. Right? They would say that. And then you just grab this book right here. And there's others like this one. These two. Oh, please don't fall. I just put all this stuff back up here. Tell me what you see. You see it? You see it? No, thank you. Do you? What would you do if this woke up? This. And they said this was from 71 to several hundred feet. So you think about if you watch the movie Noah. How many of you watched the movie Noah with Russell Crowe? Who was helping him build the ark? In the movie, who was helping him build the ark? The fallen angels. The rocks that were fallen angels. Anybody ever seen this movie? Right here. Anybody ever seen this? Is there a rock giant in here? There was a rock giant in this movie, wasn't it? There was a turtle that he thought was a mountain that had trees growing out of it. Y'all remember? When he was yelling at Atreyu, and then the mountain started moving, and he come to find out the mountain that had trees growing on the back of it was actually a turtle. Y'all remember in this movie that happened? Anybody? Y'all remember that? Huh? Don't fall. Please. Just like the Lord of the Rings movie. There's so much stuff in the never-ending story that's in the books that we read. It's unreal. And now I know I was drawn to all of that stuff when I was younger because it's going to be everything I was going to be studying. Indiana Jones' favorite movies. I was like 8, 9, 10, however old. And I could watch Indiana Jones all day like an old person. All the old shows, Jeopardy, all of that stuff. Anything that was teaching me something, I was watching it, so. Why are dragons in the east? Drillwood, you got a lot of questions for me. Well, the east is their home. You know, I didn't really get on here to work, but I'm going to answer your question. I just came on here to talk. So, what When the fallen angels went into the women, they just did not go into the women. They went into the reptiles as well. And this is why dragons can talk. You see this? You see it? The dragon siblings with white hair and blue eyes that enter the 100,000 giant war from the east. The dragon siblings that told of a wealthy city in the sky. The dragon siblings who worship gods we do not know. The dragon siblings who were protected by the bright ones. The dragon siblings whose joining army added 20,000 Rephaim to the battle. Right? So in the east, they were worshipped for wisdom because that's where they lived and made their life. But when they left the east, most times they was coming to tear up somebody's stuff, just like in Game of Thrones, you know. Have you watched it? House of Dragons just had an episode. When the last 2 episodes were very interesting. If you knew what you was looking at, you knew what you was looking at. Anything else? It's a kid's book, but it has so much good information in here, right? Talks about the dragonology, the secret and ancient society of dragonology, and people think that this is fake. That's the crazy thing. This is one of the ways they hide the truth right in front of you. Isn't that interesting? What y'all think? They can tell you where they was at and everything, where they found their bodies, what kind of dragon was over there. Y'all see? Interesting. So if something that never existed, again, I ask you, how do they have so much information about it? If it never existed, all of the things that they keep telling us never existed, but they have so much information. But again, if you never saw it, how can you tell me the biology and physiology of something that you've never seen? You can show me how all the muscles and everything go, and you've never seen it. Y'all don't think that's interesting? This is like the 3rd or 4th book we didn't picked up in different books we've looked in, and they're constantly telling us what's myth, but they have so much detailed information about all of the myths. They can tell you the incubation period for things. They can tell you all of the muscular structure, everything. For not just these, but satyrs and minotaurs and everything else. I just wonder how they do that if they've never seen any of it. It's interesting to me. What y'all think? Huh? What y'all think about that? For folks that have never seen it, they sure do be having a lot to talk about. And detailed information about something they never seen. I just don't know how that's working out. You've never seen it, but you can tell me the muscular structure of it, right? And the bones and how they hook together and all of these things. It's just interesting. I think it's very interesting. I don't know, Drillwood. These are all information. This is all information you can find out. But I'm sure it was. But they, the women didn't give birth to horses. That's not who gave birth to horses. But they did have beasts. They had cyclopses and other things. They had babies that had a whole bunch of arms because all angels don't look like humans. Some angels have dog heads, and some angels have bird heads and wings, and some of those angels fail. So, if they were to mate with a woman and they're shapeshifters, then you would have Sweet Tooth, which is on Netflix in real life. They slept with the. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Two things. This book right here. Right? Has a book called The Book of the Giants in it. And this is my newer one, so it's not marked. My other one is. Hold on, y'all. It's back here. There it is. See it? And this book says right here 200 angels chose animals, including presumably humans, on which to perform unnatural acts. So they took 200 donkeys, 200 asses, 200 rams of the flock, 200 goats, 200 beasts from the fields, and every animal, and thousands of birds, and they went into the reptiles. We know that from another version of Enoch. But it says the outcome of the demonic corruption was violence, perversion, and a brood of monstrous beings. Where is this referenced? In Genesis 6 and 4. In Genesis. And they defiled and they begot giants and what? Monsters. And they begot and beheld, and all the earth was corrupted with its blood, and by the hand of the giants, which did not suffice for them. And they were seeking to devour many, and the monsters destroyed it. So Narnia was real before the flood. Narnia, it was real before the flood. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. Because you got to realize, the women, the first thing that the giants taught them was magic. After magic, they taught them woodworking and things like that. So they taught them how to enchant things, and then they taught them how to make the things to enchant. This is why whenever you see a dagger that had special ability or so daggers had some type of jewel in the end of them, and depending on the metal or the alloy, they could enchant the metal, right? And then they could enchant the stone that was in it, right? So then whatever they wanted to put on this dagger to do whatever they could, right? Well, they had to teach them the magic first. Alchemy, yes. Yep. And so then they could put some type of medallion, or, as you can see, stones in the metal, okay? And even in the cartoons, this sword conducted electricity, didn't it? Isn't that what this sword was able to do in the Thundercats? Didn't some lightning come down to this or something? Right? Or am I wrong? Is that He-Man? That's He-Man. Was that He-Man? I think his had stones in it too. It might have been both of them, but that might be He-Man. I have the power. Yeah, that's He-Man. Never mind. I can't remember if lightning came down into that or not. On both of them. Okay. So with that, I couldn't remember. It's late anyway. Even with, thank you, even with necklaces, the amulets and all of that, it normally had a stone in it. And the stone and the metal together acted like a conductor for spiritual energy and regular energy as well, just electricity. Right. So they first taught them to enchant things, and then they showed them alchemy, metallurgy, whatever you want to call it, so that they could extract the metals and different rocks, and jewels from rocks, and then they showed them how to do the spells over them to make them do whatever they needed to do, whatever that was. Yeah, and so this is why crowns have all of the jewels in them. Y'all know that, right? And gold is an amazing conductor of electricity as well. So this is why most crowns had specific jewels in them, and they were made of solid gold most times. Everything had a reason back then. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to show y'all. Yeah, now you understand why they say the rocks will cry out. It's a true statement. So there's that. The fall of the angels. And this is when they decided, you see that? It says in those days when the children of men are multiplied, it happened. And again, Genesis 6 is referenced right there in the corner. Were born unto them handsome and beautiful daughters, and the angels, the children of heaven. The angels are the children of heaven. We are the children of earth. Saw them and desired them, and they said to one another, come and let us choose wives for ourselves from among the daughters of men, and beget us children. And at that moment, the first weapons of mass destruction were being put into play. Because the giants were the first weapons of mass destruction. And that's why a lot of our military grade whatever is named after these guys. It could be their Greek name. It could be, whatever. But you see right here where it says, and they took wives unto themselves. And everyone respectively chose one woman for himself, and they began to go into them or unto them. And they taught them what? Magical medicine. That's where you get your word pharmacy from. If you look up the word pharmakia, which is pharmacy in, not Greek, but Latin, excuse me. The first thing they taught them was magical medicine, and then incantations, the cutting of roots, and taught them about plants. And the women became pregnant and gave birth to great giants whose heights were 300 cubits. That's 450 feet tall, the Titans. These giants consumed the produce of all the people until the people detested feeding them, so that the giants turned against the people in order to eat them. And they began to sin against, here you go, birds, wild beasts, reptiles, and fish. So that's where your mermaids come from. This is where your reptilians come from. Satyrs, minotaurs, harpies, all of that. And their flesh was devoured the one by another, and they drank blood. There's your vampires. And then the earth brought an accusation against the oppressors. So that's where all your mythical beings come from. The 7th generation from Adam in the days of Jared. Yep. So all the monsters you see in the movies, they all existed before. If you've ever watched the show Grimm, it'll kind of help you understand a lot more about what be going on around here. All those bear attacks, but they don't never find a bear. The dog attacks and they never find the dog. Finding people's bodies and all of the blood is sucked out of them, but they don't got no cuts on them. The animals and the cows, the like, all of it. It's all in there. They be telling us without telling us, but you gotta know how to put the pieces together. The Bible says that you never know when you entertaining an angel. It never said good or bad, which means the fallen angels that were here at first are still here. Some of them are jailed, but a lot of them are here. Excuse me. Not only that, but the fallen angels' children, the giants, the spirits of the Nephilim, and all of those different races, they are actually here as evil spirits as well. So they're not in hell or whatever. They're here. Those are the spirits that tempts everybody and get everybody all crazy, basically. Which is nuts. But that's where your monsters came from. Yes. Yes. So for all those people that say, oh, I don't believe in the Bible, but you'll watch Marvel or DC or Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, any of that, Game of Thrones is still biblical. So they be selling y'all the Bible all the while telling y'all not to believe in it, but they sell it to you for a gazillion dollars in real life. Because even that Dragonology book that I just showed you, the letters on the front of there are Phoenician letters. So you can actually decode the message that's on there. They make it look kiddie, but I mean, if you know what you're looking at, it's a lot of information in there. So yeah, they got books on Merlin, vampirology, all of it, oceanology, mythology, all of it. That's what all this stuff is back here, trying to put the pieces together. We are a school of inclusion and not exclusion, and when you include a lot of different things, it's like a puzzle. But if you only stick with like if you only say, oh, I'm only going to study Egyptians, and I'm not, okay, well, there was more people living than just the Egyptians. The Japanese were living at that time. It was Chinese people. It was all kind of people living. You know what I mean? The Greeks and the Romans were starting. So it's like, if you don't want to study the migration of people outside of Africa when they started leaving out, well, then you're cheating your damn self, because you can't even read the whole story. Because at times, the people in Egypt went into slavery. They were conquered by the Persians or these people. So they were carted off to other places, and they wrote their history. It just might be under a different name, just like Joseph. Now, when they went into Egypt, they got a different name. If they went into Persia, they got a different name. If they went into Babylon, they got a different name, but it was still the same person. So then you just have to understand what their name was changed to, and then you go and you read the history in that culture, and you find out those gap years like in the Bible. The gapped years where they was 10 and now they 40 and then they 120 and then there's nothing else. You said the fact that they had those in my middle school library is insane. Yeah. Well, the devil, I keep telling y'all, the devil gonna plant the seeds early. The earlier the better. Then you just think that's them. This is why I be trying to figure out why parents be trying to, oh, I have to protect them. No, you have to protect them from the world, but you do have to give them the information to live in the world, because when have y'all ever seen that the world did not take advantage of even babies? They don't care. So you not equipping your children with the information, they'll be doing all kind of stuff. I already know that I had teachers that was witches and warlocks. Because I went to gifted schools, so they was always testing me and doing all this old weird stuff. I had to listen. I'm trying to tell you, they know who the hell folks be. They know. From early on, they know. They already know. Them test scores and different things like that, that stuff ain't for nothing. The agility test that they have people take, and they rate you all the way up through junior high school and then high school and all that kind of stuff, that stuff is not for nothing. You got to think, scientists test skin, muscles, they do this all day. That's why I told y'all. It's a reason that black babies are not ever found. They know exactly where they are. Not saying other brown babies and stuff don't come up missing, but this is why they don't find black babies. The organ harvesting that used to happen back in slavery days has not stopped. It's just gone undercover. Them taking ligaments and bones and eyes, and they just found, didn't they just found another, I think, little boy without his organs somewhere else. Do you think God specifically didn't want us to know the teachings of the heavens because okay. No. Us having magic, God knew that the angels wanted to control humans. The devil didn't care who controls humans as long as God didn't, because that's a slap in the face to him, right? Lucifer is like, if I can't be in your presence, can't nobody. He don't want nobody in his presence, because God really don't mess with him like that. So he don't want nobody else to have that. But God gives everything free will. Everybody gets free will, and magic takes away your free will. So that's why he didn't want us to have it, because people use magic to control people. And God doesn't even do that. And he made everything that we see and don't. That's why he didn't want us to have it. Because he knew, you got to think, he already knew. He knew what Lucifer was going to do. He knew what the angels were going to do. He could have very well made it to where the angels' baby batter didn't even mix with the human women. Do you understand? He could have, because he knew they were going to do this, put a protective barrier around the woman's egg that would, as soon as that even got around it, it would, the acid level or something would, he could have did that. He didn't. Hello. He knew. But the same DNA, right, that caused the destruction of the earth the first time, he still kept it. This is how we have gigantism now. So what the devil meant for bad, God still turned it around and used it for his good, because the angels, they infiltrated both lines. They infiltrated Seth's line and Cain's line, both of them. So you got to think about people like Samson that had super strength, and then Jacob and all his boys was giants. And if Noah and his wife were 17 feet and 15 feet, I mean, right. They just found Noah and them bones, and the thumb bone and the whatever other bones they found. These people was 17 feet. Noah was 17 feet, and Naaman was 15 feet. And those were regular. If those were regular sized people, because the Bible says that everything is smaller now. Everything is smaller. So Adam could have easily been 20 feet tall. And then everything from him got smaller. So you got to think, if the women were 15 and 20 feet tall, they said military seeing giants in Afghan. It was in 2015. The giants of Kandahar, the red-haired giants. They listen. They in America. They live under the crust of the earth. And 2015. Okay. Genesis 6 says there was giants before the flood and after. If the world has not been destroyed yet, then all of the giants are not gone. I have what's his name's book back here? Magellan. And in the 1500s, they was still the Patagonian giants, and they was cannibals, and they was extra large and big and everything. In the 1500s, the sailors that was coming from Spain and stuff, and France and all of those places, they wrote about them. They interacted with them in the 1500s. We in America have heard the story of Paul Bunyan forever. The Indians say that the giants are real. And every time back in the 80s and 90s that you used to see an Arabian portrayed, they were this big, massive guy that could barely speak. And they had that thing on their head, and they towering over everybody. Okay, they've been telling us what it was the whole time. The whole time. They did not used to portray Arabians and Persians like they portray them now. Do y'all remember that? They were always leaps and bounds taller than the regular, like Indiana Jones, people like that. They always made them big. And they was always massive. You remember? Now they make them like look smaller because they don't want you looking over there. But I remember from like Conan the Barbarian and all of those that they was always big, like Andre the Giant or bigger. And it'll be a little bitty person walking in the middle of them, and they'll have them both walking them to whoever they about to go meet or whatever it is. So when you go back and look at the older movies, you can see that they really was telling you what it was, but now they've changed it because people can go looking. So they be trying to scrub that kind of stuff from the internet, or those movies you got to pay for. They hard to find because That's when they was telling you the truth. Yeah. I mean, they still be telling you the truth. You just got to know what you're looking at, basically. That's what it be. And you can't just look in one place. And a lot of people, that's what they want to do. They want to just, I'm only going to study this or I'm only going to study that. But you teach yourself. You need to get as many books as you can about whatever subject. So if you're going to study mythology, you need to find all of the mythology. And once you get several, you might not be able to find everything, but at least 20 different cultures or whatever of mythology, then you start to see everybody got the same stories, and then that takes you back to the Tower of Babel, that he didn't change the stories, he just changed the names, the language, the dialect, but it's all the same story. So it makes sense because prior to that, everybody knew the history. And I thought about even today with family reunions, I'm sure as Adam aged and as people moved out of Africa, that whole family reunion thing started with Adam. Everybody making the trek back to where he was to let them know, because Adam lived for almost 1,000 years. So I'm sure that was the family reunion. At first, everybody had to come back and see the forefather because he was alive for several generations. You don't think that people used to be wanting to go to see the first man that could tell them about how it was to be in the Garden of Eden? And I'm sure this is where the family reunion came from, going back, because most times, and how it used to be, wherever the grandparents were, most times is where the family reunion was. Wherever the oldest family members were is where they would go, because they couldn't travel like that, so everybody traveled to them. Well, that would make sense. If Adam is 700-800 years old, he would be the oldest person on the planet, and then everybody traveling back, all his grandkids and generations, because it says that when he died they was all around him. So maybe this is where the whole thing of the people from Mecca or Jerusalem making the trek back to those places, no matter where they are in the world, to meet up at the same time. I'm sure that has something to do with everybody going back to meet Adam before, I mean, yeah. Yeah. So you think about just simple things that we do now. The first people did those things. The pilgrimage, exactly. Exactly. Once a year, everybody come from all over, wherever, and come on back home and see your daddy. Because you got to think about it. Even the giants, even the giants were Adam's grandkids, because his daughters and granddaughters had babies with them. So even the giants are Adam's offspring by his daughters. So you have to think about a cyclops walking up to Adam saying grandpa or papa or great grandfather, or a satyr. You think about how that hurt Adam, to know that his sin caused that, to see animals and humans mixed. Would you be sad? All the monsters that were made, he named all the animals. Don't forget that. All the bugs, all the birds, all the animals that they keep talking about they just found, he named them all already. So to see these species mixed, when he's the one that named them and he knows he's the first human, I'm sure it probably messed him up. For real. What would you do if your kid brought you a baby that was half horse and half human? Half bird and half human, what would you do? Were animals mixed with humans only during pre-Noah times? No. They're doing it right now. There's people that have pig hearts and pig knees, and they grow human ears on rats. So I would say it's happening now. They are growing embryos in chickens. They're using human embryos to make those. They use the sperm. What are those things called? The little wormy things where men use their sperm and a chicken egg, and it be in water. What is it called? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all seen them? It's a name for that thing. No. Go. What are they called? It's a being. It's gross, but it's alive. But it's not a human. But it's the baby batter of a man, and they put it in the egg or something like that. It's a scientific. Like, people is growing these things. You can look them up. I don't know what they call. I can't think of it right now. It's real. And they have like this tongue thing, and they're like, it looked like this. It's like a white thing, and then it's a circle right here, and there's like a tongue thing that come out of it. They be shaped weird, and they grow and everything. It's not cloning. These is regular people and scientists. Some of them is scientists, but some of them is regular people. Now, I think you can go to jail, like, if you get caught with it, but I don't know what it's called. It's scary, though. It looked like something from Disney, some kind of, yeah, they're already doing it. But you got to think, like I said, if you go and look up the one that killed the other one in the tank. Yeah, you seen it, Timothy? Whatever them things is called. That's it. It was two. Yeah. Ooh. That's how you know this world is messed up. I don't know what they call, but yeah. But if you look up all the genetic disorders in humans, they all have the names of the fallen angels' children by animals. Like Seckle syndrome, what Gru had, and what's the name is bird syndrome, and then you have hypertrichosis, which is werewolf syndrome, cybernomelia, which is mermaid syndrome, cyclopia, cyclops, elephantiasis, or however you say that, elephantiasis, whatever you call that makes the limbs, one part of your limb look like an elephant's leg and arm, and then the other one is regular. Even the skin starts to take on the appearance, and they say that it comes from a mosquito, but and there are people in this world right now, in a certain part of the world, a lot of them are born with extra arms and extra body parts. Right? It's a specific part of the world where a lot of the people over there are born with this exact same issue. Right or wrong? Right? Not this, that. Right? Y'all know where? Where? India. And he's an Indian god. And is it, don't we got a movie called Elephant Man? A lot of people are in India are born with extra arms and legs. Sometimes they have whole bodies, more than anywhere else in the world. Interesting. Ganesha is an Indian, and they worship the people that have the bodies hanging extra limbs. They worship them. They are considered as deities. If there's a kid that's born with extra arms or extra legs or extra body that is hanging, they are worshipped. There's a reason for that. The genetic disorder is still there. It just comes out every once in a while. Just like the family that they whole body covers get covered where they look like, you know, werewolves or apes, and they only thing ain't covered is the bottom, the palms of their hands and their feet. That's it. The sole of their feet. Other than that, it's they hold everything. Yeah. They be in a Shriner circus. All of these people, a lot of them. So when you look up the genetic disorders, you will see that all of the mythological the mythological creatures, they DNA is still here. Yes, there's a movie called Elephant Man. Yes, there is. And there's people that have, what is it? Is it elephantiasis? Elephant. I don't know the proper name for it, but y'all know what I had a school teacher that had it. One side of her body was normal, and the other side of her body, her wrist, this whole side of her body, her leg and everything, the skin on her leg, the skin on her other leg, smooth, no problems, no nothing. This leg, every single thing about this side of her body, her wrist, everything was swollen, and her limbs looked like elephant limbs. It was a real thing. We have people that are born with tails, vestigial tails. We have people that are born with subcutaneous horns. We have people that are born. We had several dentists in here that said they removed double rows of teeth all the time. That was a sign of the giant. We got several people in here that were born with 6 fingers and 6 toes, or an extra finger or an extra toe. Hell, Jimmy J6 is a part of our. He was a part of our community. He's literally living with 6 fingers on each hand right now, in Kenya somewhere. I'm happy you made it home. You hear me? So, Stanford Pines is his real name. Stanford Pines. He has 12 fingers right now. He's a real person. He lives in Kenya. We had him on our live one day. So all those things are here. The doc tried to cut the extra one, but it grew back as stubs. Yeah. So that's why I said, like, you can't just, even searching the Bible, you have to go look at medicine, you have to go look at agriculture, you have to go look at geology, geometry, geography, all of it. Even geometry, because when it tells you the measurements of the temples and all of this kind of stuff, it's you will study every subject study in the Bible. Archaeology, paleontology, biology, everything. Oceanography, everything. Everything. You're going to study all of it. Because it talks about the plants and everything. No, literally, you will. So always talking about a different body of water. Talks about what fish you're not supposed to eat, what this, what that. When, like, even the rivers that they said they went in through salt in, if you go and you look up the chemical compound of the soil that is there, and that it was causing the people to get sick at that time and was making the women sterile and everything. So, like, it literally is like, no, if you study it right and you go and you look in there, you find a lot of information, all kinds of stuff you wouldn't even think you would know. The length of rivers, the miles from this place to that place, the soil of this place compared to the soil of that place. Because when God say, I'm taking you into a fertile land, and it ain't nothing but 200 miles from where they at, but it's complete desert and they can't grow nothing, well then, what's the difference in the composition of this soil and then the sand or whatever it is over here? Like, that's the stuff that I go search out, because if God is saying it's lush, it's this, it's that, well then what made it that way? Just like in Jerusalem right now, for every one stalk of corn, our stalks grow one corn on the cob. Theirs grow three. They avocados is the size of our cantaloupes dang near. They oranges, everything. They grow food all year round. And it ain't no what's the name? Because God told them once all the Jews come back, I'm gonna turn it green again, and I'm gonna start making it look like how it used to look before I cursed the earth or cursed that area. So, and that happened in what, 1947. All of a sudden, rivers started flowing that hadn't flowed in over 2,000 years, and all of this stuff. It's a whole documentary called the 25 Messianic Prophecies. You need to watch it. It'll blow your mind. You'll be like, wait, what? You said, funny thing, I'm not even 5 feet tall, but a descendant of a giant. Well, one of the things about them, they also made the dwarves too. You never know how genetics is going to go. Not all their kids was giants. They also made dwarves. Yep. Which is crazy. Because you got to think, those two species were not supposed to mix. So you didn't know what they was going to put out. Some of them came out with one eye. Some of them came out with 12 fingers. Some of them came out with double rows of teeth. Some of them had like 50 to 100 arms. And not all of them was the same. Because this was not supposed to happen. So it's like mixing a weenie dog and something else. You don't know how the animal, you just don't know how they're gonna look. And because it can pull from both sides, you could get some real weird looking animals. You hear me? It's the same thing with humans mating with angels, because all angels don't look the same. And then if they mated with animals and these were the humanoid angels, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Because some of the angels did look like humans and some of them didn't. Just like old girl, what's her name? We talk about her all the time. Isis. Isis was a harpy. Dagon, fish god. I mean, you go through the list. Anubis, he's a whole dog-headed guy. I mean, yeah, she was a harpy. Ain't it Isis that had the bird feet and the wings, and she ain't got no clothes on? Ain't that her? Don't they portray her as a woman with wings and bird feet? Or is that Hathor? What's her name? She be having a ring in the bottom of her claws, right? Is y'all looking it up? How do they depict her? That's Isis. She was a harpy. If you read Genesis 6, it says that they were the kings and the rulers and the conquerors and the men of renown and all of those people. So she was a ruler in Egypt, right? A goddess. If her daddy was an angel, you know, or her mama was a sort. No, thank you. Her mama was a sorcerer, sorceresses, however you say it. I'm getting sleepy. It's kicking in. But yeah, that's why they were the Book of Kings. And a lot of the first books of the Bible have a lot about them. But most people are reading it from the Hebrew side of it, their name. But if you go look and you start to compare who they are, you'll see something. You'll see something. Because like King Og of Bashan, his daddy, if I'm not mistaken, was an angel as well. And then Ohio, Mahiah, like a lot of the reason they always make the wizards like so big and tall because they were the sons of the angels. Their mamas was witches and they taught their sons sorcery. So it makes sense that they always make it like the wizard is way big and taller than everybody with this big old tall stick. A lot of people don't even understand why they carry that staff, and that's because when Adam got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, he asked for a few things. God gave him certain fruits, and he had one of the angels break off a branch from the tree of one of the trees in there. I don't know exactly which tree it was, and that's what he used. Well, this is why you see a lot of the medicine men in Africa and just older men, period, with that stick. But the stick always has some kind of power to it. This is why the same stick that Moses had was Adam's. It was passed down. There was a couple other people that had it too. But that stick actually came out of the Garden of Eden. God had put it up until Moses was ready for it. I think Abraham had it. A couple other people had it. These are all stories you can read. So the staff, the wizards, were basically mimicking, right? The one, because Adam just had a regular stick. It was a branch from the garden. But whenever you see a wizard, they always have some kind of crystal on the end of theirs, right? There's always like a crystal ball or some kind of jewel or something on there. Well, those were the enchanted, like the enchanted woods, the enchanted forest, right? This is where they're stealing that from, because the staff that Adam had came out of the garden. So it was magic. It had powers. Well, the wizards, who were the children of the fallen angels, their dads equipped them with magic, and they gave them the magic stick, the magic walking stick, or what ended up becoming a wand later on in life. But whenever you see a wizard's, most times theirs has a rock on it, and that is how they conduct their spiritual energy. And the one that Adam and the one that Moses had, they were just, it just was endued with the power of God. So that's that yin and yang of the old man with the wisdom and information everybody else don't have, and power in his walking stick. Adam had it, Abraham had it, Moses had it, whoever. It was a couple other people, like I said, but that's the good and evil of even just the walking sticks, and why they always show that those had powers, because the first man had a walking stick that had power. because it actually came out of the Garden of Eden. And Lucifer is a copycat. So then when he started, him and his brothers and whatever started teaching men magic, they gave them a wooden walking stick that could basically compare with the one that God gave Adam and Abraham and Moses and all those guys. It was the same stick though. It just was like getting passed down. And that's funny because one of the African histories from some of the people that I know is that the grandfather or whoever, that walking stick is passed down to like the eldest grandson or the eldest son, and then the eldest son gives it to the next. Well, that makes sense because that's pretty much what Adam did. That's pretty much what happened with his stick. It was passed down from generation to generation, but it had some magical powers to it. Not magical powers, it had the power of God in it, basically. That's what split the Red Sea, and when he hit the rock, that's why the water came out. It was going to come out anyway, but when he hit the rock, that's why. That's the same walking stick that Adam had. Just like the clothes that Nimrod wore were the clothes that God made for Adam and Eve, and they made him invincible, which was mind-blowing. There's all your Marvel stuff. Once you put this certain piece of clothing on, it makes you invincible, invincible, and indestructible. And that's exactly what the clothing that God made for Adam and Eve had, that same ability. So I'm about to go to sleep. I think I'm sleepy now. I'm about to eat me some cake and get in the bed. That's what I'm about to do. Yep, I'm gonna eat me some cake and get in the bed. Thank y'all for talking to me until I was sleepy. It's time. You're welcome. And sorry, I'm a little loopy. I'm ready to go to sleep now. That's all I needed, was to teach a little bit. Get right on in the bed. And I'll probably see y'all tomorrow after. What day is it? Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday. Okay. I don't even be knowing what days it is no more. Good night, y'all. I love y'all. Make sure y'all say y'all prayers. Pray over them babies, over your spouses, that they make it home safely and to work safely. I love y'all. Good night. Yeah. I'm about to go to sleep.